तव कथामृतम् तप्तजीवनम् कविभिरीडितम् कल्मषापहम् श्रवणमङ्गलम् श्रीमदाततम् भुवि गृह्णन्ति ये भूरिदा जनाः भुवि गृह्णन्ति ये भूरिदा जनाः।
ॐ तव कथामृतं तप्तजीवनं कविभिरीडितं कल्मषापहं श्रवणमङ्गलं श्रीमदाततं भुवि गृह्णन्ति ये भूरिदा जना. We are studying the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, and in that the conversations of 3rd July 3rd, Thursday, July 3rd, 1884, the day of the return chariot yatra. And we have studied it, but let us go back to that point, where in the meantime, the small car of Jagannath had been brought to the veranda. Inside the car were the images of Krishna, Balaram and Subhadra, Krishna and his brother and sister. They were adorned with, let me comment a little here. It is said that there is a speciality of this Jagannath Puri temple where Hindus of all castes mingle together. The caste is not observed at all. And the images are little unexpected. Krishna is neither with Radha nor with Rukmini, neither his most beloved nor his wedded wife. So, actually, I am saying so, but people know history well, and they say that these qualities, strange qualities of no caste observation, is due to the temple was a Buddhist temple previously, a Buddhist place of worship previously. And this is the effect of Buddhism, that no caste is observed. Now some new appellations have come there, that other than Hindus, nobody will be allowed to come. Even the Buddhists are not allowed to come. That is a different thing. But this broad idea, casteless idea, is due to the effect of Buddhism. And Buddhas worship 3 deities: Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha. Buddha is to be followed. When he is not there, his teachings are to be followed, called Dhamma. And when there is a doubt of interpretation of those teachings, Sangha, what his order of monks tells, is the interpretation. This is the Buddhistic idea of worship. And these 3 have been converted into Krishna. When the influence of Vaishnavism grew, this temple was taken over, and that has been converted into Krishna, Balaram and Subhadra. That is what people who know history tell us. So the caste is not observed, though, as I said, a new appellation has come that other than Hindus, nobody will be allowed. And even the Buddhists are not allowed. So that happens in the course of history. But we are concerned with the worship of Jagannath in Balaram's house. So in Balaram's house, Jagannath, Krishna is called Jagannath, the Lord of the universe. So the Jagannath was the deity worshipped in Balaram's house, inside in a shrine, and yet on the car festival days, there was a small car chariot, and in that the Utsava Murti was put, and there was a square veranda open to the skies place and four sides veranda. In that it was pulled. And as a symbolic, because in Jagannath, Jagannath goes to visit his auntie and stays in her house for 8 days. So here he is put in a different room than his original room. And then after the completion of those 8 days, he again moves in a procession and then taken to his original place. So that is the day today, 3rd July. And so here we continue. In the meantime, the small car of Jagannath had been brought to the veranda. Inside the car were the images of Krishna, Balaram, and Subhadra. They were adorned with flowers, garlands, jewelry, and yellow apparel. Krishna is blue in color, so he puts on yellow dress. And because of his association, Balaram and Subhadra also put on yellow dress. And it is a remarkable fact that the Buddhistic monks wear yellow dress. Balaram was a Sattvic worshipper. We already heard what is Sattvic, Rajasic, Tamasic. There was no outward grandeur in his worship. Outsiders did not even know of this car festival at his house. The master and the devotees went to the veranda. Sri Ramakrishna pulled the car by the rope. Then he began to sing. See how all Nadia is shaking under the waves of Gauranga's love. So Jagannath Dev's main worshipper, another incarnation, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So all this becomes in honor of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he is called Gauranga, and Navadvip is his birthplace, Nadia. So Nadia is shaking under the waves of Gauranga's love. That is what Master sang. He sang again, behold the two brothers. Nityananda was like a brother to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nimai, Nitai. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's name was Nimai because he was born under a margosa tree, neem tree. So Nimai. And Nityananda was his companion, but was like a brother. So, behold, the two brothers have come who weep while chanting Hari's name. The brothers who, in return for blows, offer to sinners Hari's love. Well, seen this yesterday. Sri Ramakrishna danced with the devotees, the musicians and his party. Balaram had invited a musician. The musician and his party joined the master in the music and dancing. Soon the whole veranda was filled with people, devotee people. The ladies witnessed the scene of joy from an adjoining room. This also we saw yesterday. It appeared as if Chaitanya himself were dancing with his devotees, intoxicated with divine love. This is Master Masha's feeling. It was not yet dusk. Sri Ramakrishna returned to the drawing room with the devotees. After this, chariot pulling was over. Master to Shashadhar. This is called Bhajanananda. That is why I read from the beginning. This which you have seen now, this dancing, this singing out of joy is called Bhajanananda, the bliss of devotees in the worship of God. Bhajana is equated to worship of God, and there is a joy felt by the devotees. Worldly people keep themselves engrossed in the joy of sensuous objects, Vishaya Ananda, of woman and gold. To be in particular, through worship, devotees receive the grace of God and then His vision. Then they enjoy Brahmananda, the bliss of Brahman. Vishayananda to be rejected, Bhajanananda to be undertaken, it will lead to Brahmananda. From here, the new portion, Shashadhar and the devotees listen to these words with rapt attention. This threw them into great experience and introspection. Now Shashadhar humbly asks, Sir, please tell us what kind of yearning gives one this blissful state of the mind? Both Bhajanananda and Brahmananda. Master, what kind of yearning? Master, one feels restlessness for God when one's soul longs for His vision. So first essential thing is longing for direct experience of God. The Guru said to the disciple, come with me. So in answer to that, he is telling an anecdote. I shall show you what kind of longing will enable you to see God. Saying this, he took the disciple to a pond and pressed his head under the water. After a few moments, he released the disciple and asked, how did you feel? The disciple answered, oh, I felt as if I were dying. I was longing for a breath of air. Felt? Understood? This has to be understood, felt directly. One has to put oneself in that place of the disciple and then understand and feel that just for a breath. Shashadhar. Yes, that's it. I understand it now. So Shashadhar understood by that. Master. So his question is answered. Thakur still tells him to love God is the essence of the whole thing. Bhakti alone is the essence. Love of God is called bhakti. Narada said to Rama, this is Thakur's favorite quotation. May I always have pure love for your lotus feet, and may I not be deluded by your world bewitching Maya. So when this is given up, that comes. Rama said to him, ask for some other boon. No, said Narada. I don't want anything else. That is important. Huh? Then only that is a boon. When you don't want anything else. May I have love for your lotus feet. This is my only prayer. Pandit Shashadhar was ready to leave. Sri Ramakrishna asked a devotee to bring a carriage for the Pandit. Shashadhar, don't trouble yourself. I shall walk. Master, smiling. Oh, how can that be? You are beyond the reach of even Brahma's meditation. You understand? Brahmajare na paye dhyane. This is half a sentence. Huh? Thakur wants to tell him that you are the reality already. You have to wake up and find it. So he intervenes in between. This is not very clear in English translation. In Bengali, a dash has been put to tell us that the sentence is incomplete. Hey, English does not say you, huh? One who is beyond the reach of even Brahma's meditation, dash, like that. Hinting is all right, but it is not direct. There should be a dash to tell that he was going to tell something. But Shashadhar breaks it. Shashadhar, there is no particular need of my going just now. The only thing is that I shall have to perform my sandhya. He is still stuck up to his ritualistic form of worship. Master, the Divine Mother has taken away my sandhya and other devotions. So in Thakur's case, he is beyond karma, ritualistic karma. The purpose of the sandhya is to purify body and mind. I am no longer in that state. That means purified already. The master sang the following lines of a song. So still that is going on. Huh? When will you learn to lie, O mind, in the abode of blessedness, with cleanliness and defilement on either side of you, two wives, imagine. Cleanliness and defilement. Only when you have found the way to keep these wives contentedly under a single roof. So one goes beyond cleanliness and defilement. That is put in this song in this way. Will you behold the matchless form of Mother Shama? So when you go beyond the idea of cleanliness and defilement, you rise and in consciousness, and then you have the direct vision. Pandit Shashadhar saluted the master and went away. Now, Ram, Thakur's devotee, he talks. Ram, I visited Shashadhar yesterday. You asked me to. Master, did I? I don't remember. So he might not have even told him, but Ram has taken hint himself and gone. But it is nice that you went, Ram. The editor of a newspaper was abusing you. He wants to tell something. Master, suppose he was. What does it matter? Beyond praise and blame. In Thakur's life, you see everything actualized. Maram, please listen. He wants to tell that. Then I began to talk to the editor about you. He wanted to hear more and wouldn't let me go. So he's telling his own side. That's all. Thakur has not commented on that. It was, our Master Maharaj has not mentioned anything afterward. It was dusk. Sri Ramakrishna began to chant the names of the Divine Mother, Krishna, Rama, and Hari. The devotees sat in silence. The master chanted the names in such sweet tones that the hearts of the devotees were deeply touched. That Thakur's heart, Thakur is same as incarnations, but the heart is filled with so much love, identical love with the incarnations. That is why his chanting is sweet, and that is why it touches the devotee's heart. That day, Balram's house was like Navadvip when Chaitanya lived there. So Master is again and again remembering Chaitanya. Similarity. On the veranda, it was like Navadvip, and in the parlor, it was like Vrindavan. So actually, Krishna Lila has taken place in Vrindavan. And Navadvip is where Krishna himself was born as Chaitanya. So in Master's mind, see how much is filled with Sakar now. That same night, Sri Ramakrishna was to go to Dakshineshwar. Balram took him into the inner apartments and served him with refreshments. The ladies of the family saluted the master. The devotees were singing kirtan in the drawing room, awaiting the master's coming. Presently, Sri Ramakrishna came and joined the singers. The kirtan went on. Behold, my Gora, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, is dancing with the devotees. Gora means fair complexion. Gauranga is the name. With the devotees, he dances in Srivasa's courtyard. One of the devotees whose courtyard was famous for this dancing of Chaitanya. Singing the kirtan, Gora says to all, repeat the name of Hari. He looks at Gadadhar, another devotee. Huh? It is not Gaya Vishnu or Thakur. Huh? Gadadhar means another devotee with Chaitanya. And from his red eyes are flowing tears of love over his golden body. Golden body, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Eyes red because of weeping, feeling the love and separation from Sri Krishna. The master improvised the lines. Gora is dancing in the kirtan. There he dances. Sachi is darling. Sachi is the name of Gora's mother. There he dances my Gauranga. There he dances my soul's beloved, composed by a devotee. Now here, isn't there a slight anomaly? Or was there some change? Thakur did not go to Dakshineshwar that night. We have a description of this very event in the Great Master. That is not there in the Divya Bhav.
English is there. English, both the volume.
Second one. Oh, second volume, first part, end. The story of Gopala's mother, last part, before this. Leela Prasanga style. The master, oh, Acha. Meeting of Shashadhar. Oh, it's all right. Leela Prasanga described the chariot festival of 1885. And we are now in 1884. Okay, this is all. Huh? So, in the night, Thakur might have gone to Dakshinesha. Now, from 3rd July, we jump to 3rd August. So, 1 month, no description from Ashma. Okay. Festival at chapter 26, festival at others' house, Sunday, August 3, 1884. In between, is that over? What happened? Here, Dakshineshwar Mandire Master Rakha Latu Balram, other Shivpur Bhaktagan Pravruti Sanghe, date is 3rd August. Okay, same date. Same date, some other thing is described and then festival at others. Sri Ramakrishna was sitting in his room, that is how it starts, in the temple garden at Dakshineshwar after his midday meal. A party of bowls from Shivpur, several devotees from Bhavanipur, Balaram and M were in the room. Bowls are singing mendicants. They suddenly come and go, sing and go away. They are devotees. So, there are in groups. So, a party of bowls from Shivpur. Shivpur is in the vicinity of Howrah. Several devotees from Bhavanipur. Bhavanipur is in Calcutta. Balaram and M were in the room. Rakha, Latu and Harish were then living with the master. They too were present. The master began the conversation by addressing the bowl musicians from Shivpur. Master, yoga is not possible if the mind dwells on human and go. These two things will not leave us. Thakur in Samadhi and talking of rejecting woman and go. In the last chapter I have seen, Vishayananda has to be rejected, then Bhajanananda leads to Brahmananda. One should count in the gospel how many times this word has come. The mind of a worldly man generally moves among the three lower centers because he is talking in the language of the yoga. Though that the navel at the sexual organ and at the organ of evacuation. After great effort and spiritual practice, the Kundalini is awakened. We have known about this Kundalini by now. So in two ways this Kundalini is looked at. It is the bundle of all our past sanskaras. And it is the mother which awakens and goes to meet Shiva in the Sahasra. In these two ways, this is described Kundalini. It is called Kundalini because it is like a serpent. When sleeping, it circles around itself and sleeps. So that is Kundalini. And now, the sanskaras, Now these two are one. It is the power and it has the sanskara. So, the sanskara will direct the power of man's personality. That is the connection. And normally, the man's mind is in those three planes. Means, in another language, the Kundalini is sleeping. In another language, that power is working only on the lower planes. After great effort and spiritual practice, the Kundalini is awakened. So awakened means it wants to go to Shiva. According to the yogis, there are three nerves in the spinal column: Ida, Pingala, and Sushumna. According to the modern physiology, sensory nerves, motor nerves, and canal centralis, of which they have not found any use. So that is Sushumna. Along the Sushumna are 6 lotuses or centers. So these lotuses must be subtle experiences, because in the Sushumna you cannot find a lotus. Sushumna is supposed to be the size of a thread twine at the most. So in that we will not find a lotus or centers, nerve centers. So that is seen by the yogis. Along the Sushumna are 6 lotuses. 3 we already seen. Then in the heart, in the throat region, in the eyebrows. All these places in the Sushumna, parallel to these. And crossing this, the 7th is in Sahasrara, the medulla of the brain. The Kundalini, when awakened, names are given, the lowest being known as the Mooladhara. Then comes successively Swadhisthana, Manipur. Manipur is navel. Anahata at heart. Vishuddha in throat. And Ajna, that is in eyebrows. These are the 6 centers. The Kundalini, when awakened, passes through the lower centers and comes to the Anahata, first awakening. Which is at the heart. It stays there. At that time, the mind of the aspirant is withdrawn from the 3 lowest centers. He feels the awakening of divine consciousness and sees light. In mute wonder, he sees that radiance and cries out, "What is this? What is this?" The, what we call, jump, quantum jump of the consciousness rising. So what is this? What is this? He becomes aware of consciousness, his own and of the world. After passing through the 6 centers, the Kundalini reaches the 1,000-petal lotus known as the Sahasrara, So petals and colors are described. So it is a direct perception of the yogis. And the aspirant goes into samadhi. This is the place for Aham Brahmasmi, and that is Nirvikar Samadhi. This is according to yoga, mixed with tantra. After passing, according to the Vedas, these centers are called bhumi, plains. That means sphere of experience. That is bhumi. There are 7 such planes. The center at the heart corresponds to the 4th plane of the Vedas. According to the Tantra, there is in this center a lotus called Anahata with 12 petals. The center known as Vishuddha is the 5th plane. This center is at the throat and has a lotus with 16 petals. When the Kundalini reaches this place, the devotee longs to talk and hear only about God. That is the special Vairagya center. Conversation on worldly subjects, on woman and God, causes him great pain. He leaves a place where people talk of these matters. Then comes the 6th plane corresponding to the center known as Ajna. This center is located between the eyebrows and it has a lotus with 2 petals. When the Kundalini reaches it, the aspirant sees the form of God. But still, there remains a slight barrier between the devotee and God. He sees but cannot touch it. It is like a light inside a lantern. You may think you have touched the light, but in reality, you cannot because of the barrier of the glass. This Brahmasmi is very much glorified by some people. It is like Brahmadna, not Brahmadna. And last of all is the 7th plane, which according to Tantra, so he has brought the word Tantra here, along with yoga, is the center of the 1,000-petal lotus. When the Kundalini arrives there, the aspirant goes into Samadhi. In that lotus dwells Satchidananda Shiva, the Absolute. There, Kundalini, the awakened power, unites with Shiva. This is known as the union of Shiva and Shakti. They do not remain separate there. Huh? When the Kundalini rises to the Sahasrara and the mind goes into Samadhi, the aspirant loses all consciousness of the outer world. No I, so no outer world. He can no longer retain his physical body because I consciousness is required for the physical body. If milk is poured into his mouth, it runs out again. No prana function. In that state, the life breath lingers for 21 days and then passes out. So that old momentum continues for about 21 days. Thakur is very particular about these 21 days. Entering the dark waters of the ocean, the ship never comes back. That is, when you reach Sahasrara, it is not coming back for ordinary men. But the Ishwar Kotis, such as the incarnations of God, can come down from the state of Samadhi. They can descend from this exalted state because they like to live in the company of devotees and enjoy the love of God. So two things, enjoy the love of God and be in the company of devotees. That is why they are combined. God retains in them the ego of knowledge or the ego of devotion, according to the temperament, so that they may teach men. They are God's instruments, that means. Their minds move between the sixth and the seventh planes. They run a boat race back and forth, as it were, between these two planes. After attaining Samadhi, some souls of their own accord keep the ego of knowledge, but that ego does not create any attachment. It is like a line drawn on the water, only an appearance of ego. Hanuman kept the servant ego after realizing God in both his personal and his impersonal aspects. That is the full realization. He thought of himself as the servant of God. The great sages, that means with some relationship. The great sages such as Narada, Sanaka, Sananda, Sanaka, Sananda, Sanatan, and Sanat Kumar. They are the four mental sons of Brahma, always Kumars. After attaining the knowledge of Brahman, kept the servant ego and the ego of devotion. That is Thakur telling us. All of them kept the servant ego and the ego of devotion. They are like big steamships, which not only cross the ocean themselves, but carry many passengers to the other shore. So how and why? This is God's play. There are two classes of Paramahamsas, one affirming the formless reality and the affirming God with form, Paramahamsas. Trilanga Swami believed in the formless reality. This is a sannyasi whom Thakur met in Kashi. And what was his name might have been found out. He came from Telangana. So he was known as Telanga Swami. And that became changed into Trilanga Swami. Paramahamsas like him care for their own good alone. They feel satisfied if they themselves attain the goal. But they also are Sarva Bhuta Hite Rata. In Great Master, it is described after this that a ghat was being built for the convenience of devotees near where Trilanga Swami, under Trilanga Swami's inspiration. But those Paramahamsas who believe in God with form keep the love of God even after attaining the knowledge of Brahman. So this is Thakur's special thing, so that they may teach spiritual truth to others. They are like a pitcher brimful of water. Part of the water may be poured into another pitcher These perfected souls describe to others the various spiritual disciplines by which they have realized God. That is how the scriptures have come to us. They do this only to teach others and to help them in spiritual life. With great effort, men dig a well for drinking water using spades and baskets. Example, for the purpose. After the digging is over, some throw the spades and other implements into the well, not needing them anymore. But some put them away near the well so that others may use them. Some eat mangoes secretly and remove all traces of them by wiping their mouths with a towel. But some share the fruit with others. There are sages who, even after attaining knowledge, work to help others and also to enjoy the bliss of God in the company of devotees. So previously said, enjoying God, company of devotees, and this third dimension is added to help people. I want to eat sugar. I don't want to be sugar. Their attitude. After realization. And Thakur talks of devotees talking like this before realization also. So one should find out Thakur's saying on this side and that side also. The gopis of Vrindavan too attained the knowledge of Brahman, but they were not seeking it. In Great Master, this is very nicely described. By iti iti, how one reaches Nirvikalpa Samadhi. So Sadhana Swamiji says they have come to a point where the external world has lost all meaning to them. And they have become great power for this. When they understand that by total merging in God, the Ananda is not reduced but grows, then they merge in God. Or the love itself make them merge in God, like that he has told. Understood? So they were not seeking it, but their love increased so much that they merge in God. They wanted to enjoy God, looking on themselves as his mother, his friend, his handmaid, or his lover. So through some relation. Vatsalya bhav, Sakya bhav, Dasya bhav, and Mother bhav. He talking all this to the bowls from Shivpur. The bowls from Shivpur began to sing to the accompaniment of a stringed instrument, ektara, one stringed instrument. A line in the first song was, "We are sinners, redeem us, O merciful Lord." Master to the devotee, it is the attitude of a beginner to worship God out of fear. Please sing about God realization, songs expressing divine joy. So the bowls should not sing these lower songs. To Rakhal, how well they sang the song the other day at Navin Niyogi's house. Be drunk, O mind, be drunk with the wine of heavenly bliss. While singing religious songs, one should not constantly refer to one's worries. One should rather feel joyous and ecstatic as one chants God's name. This is Thakur's constant philosophy. A devotee, sir, won't you sing? Master, what shall I sing? Well, I may sing when the spirit moves me. So it is not his will as a human being. When the spirit moves me, sing. After a few minutes, the master began to sing. His eyes were turned upward. Hmm. Behold the waves of Gora's ecstatic love. Under them all the universe lies submerged, and in his love I too long to be drowned. O friend, Gauranga's love has swallowed me. So that is what the devotee feels. Who else feels for our misery like Gauranga, dragging us from the mire of worldliness right up to merging? He sang again, dive deep, O mind, dive deep in the ocean of God's beauty. Rup Sagare. If you descend to the uttermost depth, there you will find the gem of love. So through form, God with form, one reaches God without form or the real nature of God. Then you will find the gem of love. Then he sang about the Divine Mother. So in Thakur it is seamless. Can everyone have the vision of Shama? Is Kali's treasure for everyone? Oh, what a pity, my foolish mind will not see what is true. That only when you give up the world you will reach Mother Shama. He continued, the black bee of my mind is drawn in sheer delight to the blue lotus flower of Mother Shama's feet, allegorically put. And again, O Mother, what a machine is this that thou had made? Human body, huh? What pranks thou plays with this toy, 3.5 cubits high? As Sri Ramakrishna sang the last song, he went into Samadhi. The devotee sat speechless, gazing at his radiant figure. This radiant figure expresses the consciousness in him. After some time, he regained partial consciousness of the world and began to talk to the Divine Mother inside him. The master said, Mother, please come down from up there. So he is actually seeing these things. Did he feel his mind still lingering in the seventh plane of consciousness? The thousand petal lotus of the Shastra, Master Masha's reflection. Please do come down, he said. Don't torment me that way. Be still, mother, and sit down. So he wants to enjoy the devotee. Oh, mother, everybody's future is determined by the tendencies of his previous births. What shall I say to these people? Nothing can be achieved without discrimination and renunciation. So you may sing and all that, but past sanskaras are with you. If you get Vivek and Vairagya, then only you can turn. So this is important in Thakur's teaching. Love, love, love of God. Give up woman and go. And follow discrimination and dispassion every time he talks of, every time. I told about my teacher. One day he talked something to the household, a devotee. And after 15-20 minutes, he said, do you understand what I said? Anurag and Virag. Virag and Anurag. Anurag and Virag. So, both love of God and Vairagya are equally contributing, equally important in spiritual life. Equal emphasis on both. Sri Ramakrishna had now regained full consciousness of the world, and he continued, there are many kinds of renunciation. One of them may be called Markata Vairagya, monkey renunciation. It is a false renunciation stimulated by the afflictions of the world. That renunciation doesn't last long. Then there is real renunciation. A man with everything in this world, lacking nothing, feels all to be unreal. It is not possible to acquire renunciation all at once. So, discrimination. The time factor must be taken into account. What is time factor? A process. When it's complete, the result is sure. But it is also true that a man should hear about it. Shravan Manan Nedas. When the right time comes, he will say to himself, oh yes, I heard about this. So that Shravan comes. You must also remember another thing. By constantly hearing about renunciation, one's desire for worldly objects gradually wears away. So, importance of Shravan. One should take rice water in small doses to get rid of the intoxication of liquor. You know that? Kanji, that Pantavath, that water. Then one gradually becomes normal. That worldly intoxication will go away. An aspirant entitled to knowledge of God is very rare. We'll take it up next time. In thousands of ways, we get the same thing again and again through Thakur's mouth. Om Tava Kathāmritam Tapta Jivanam Kavi Viridhitam Kalmashapaham Shravanamangalam Shrimadatam Mui Grunanti Ye Bhuridajana Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu. Wait a minute.